Welcome to this post-run session. As with all the post-run sessions, you can either do it straight after your run, later on in the day, or even on your rest day. We're going to be using a mat, so grab that out. Take your feet nice and wide, so as wide as you can go really to get the best stretch. And then keeping your back nice and tall, we're just going to drop into one knee, take that stretch on the inner thigh, come up, and then drop it down the other way. So like I said, to keep a good stretch, you want a nice tall spine here. So you sink the weight back, keeping the chest up. That way the pelvis is in the right position to get a really good stretch on that inner thigh. Drop down and then switch. Again, remember with your stretching, always best to have a really nice flowing breath, not holding, nice and wide if you can, into the ribs. When you're ready, we're going to adapt this. So we're going to come down into our stretch. Then we're going to move across to the other side. As we do, we're going to rotate this back foot and drop into a lunge. Then we come back into that side stretch, inner thigh, and then hip flexor. So slightly tucking the tailbone under here so that we can get a good stretch on the front of that hip. Come back, nice tall spine. Rotate and get that lovely hip flexor stretch. Good. We're going to add a little bit of rotation on this one. So we drop down, hand to the floor, other hand reaches up behind. Come back, drop it down. Rotate, twist, come back. Good, couple more. Rotate, twist, and then return. Good, this is the last one. Drop. Good, this time we're going to rotate into that stretch. Rotate the front foot now so that it's also facing forwards. Hands either side of that front foot. Tuck the tailbone under and push the hips down. So we're deepening this hip flexor stretch on the back leg. Holding there. If you need to, you can drop the knee down here if it's too much, keeping the leg up behind you. But keep the tailbone tucking under and the hips pushing down towards the floor. When you're ready, we're going to do a rotation with that front arm again. So rotating towards the front leg, return. Good, keep that back hip pressing down. Good, let's hold this one. Reach. Good, nice big breaths. Come back. Good, let's bring it down and we're going to do the same on the other side now. So we drop into that side stretch on this side. Trailing leg gets a stretch. And we come across, rotate the back leg, drop into that lunge. Come back. Inner thigh. And then rotate that back leg into a lunge. Remember, nice tall spine here, and then slight tuck under of the tailbone here to get that stretch. Rotate. Good, when you're ready, we're going to add that rotation. So hand comes to the floor, twist towards that front leg, come back, drop it down, twist. Rotate. Good. Sorry, that's my foot squeaking on the mat. If you can hear that. Drop down. Twist. Good, we've got one more. Good, this time we're going to pause in that lunge. So we're going to come across, rotate the back leg. Rotate the front foot so it's also facing forwards. Tuck the tailbone and push the hips into a deeper stretch. Remember, you can always drop that knee down if you need to, but keep the hips pressing towards the floor. Make sure that front knee, is it over the ankle or slightly behind it? Just to get the best stretch. And then we're going to rotate that front leg. Twist, return. Remember, you can keep the back knee down. You don't have to lift it like I have. Nice big breaths. holding the next one. Nice big breaths as you hold. Good. And come back. Both hands on the mat now. We're going to step back. So we end up in a nice downward dog. So let's walk your feet. So pushing one heel down, then the other. We're going to start to push the head back between the arms. So don't have your feet and hands too far apart here. Otherwise it becomes difficult to get that shoulder stretch as well. So head presses back between the arms, heels press down towards the floor. Tailbone lifts up slightly so we can stretch the back of the legs. It's a nice long spine, not rounding. And then when you're ready, pause, both heels press down towards the floor. Make sure the weight is even across the toes. So don't let the weight roll into the little toe here. We want to keep the big toe working as well as we tap the knees on the floor. So we get a lovely foot stretch, big toe stretch, and then press and stretch the legs. So we tap the knees, foot stretch and big toe stretch. Straighten the legs, lift the tailbone, dropping the heels for a hamstring calf stretch. Tap the knees, straighten the legs, heels down. Down and release. Good. Remember, you want those big toes stretching, so don't let the weight roll out to the little toe. Lovely bit of foot, calf and ankle stretching and mobility. Good, we're going to pause at the top of the next one. So tap the knees. Good, lift up. Drop those heels, head presses back. And then we're going to lift the right leg up to the ceiling as high as it will go. And then we're going to sweep it all the way forwards. The foot's going to go towards the left hand. Knee's going to go towards the right hand so we can drop into a pigeon stretch. So dropping the hips down. And then we're going to go back up. So tuck the toes again. Push back up with that right leg. And then step all the way forward and into your pigeon. Now, if pigeon is really tricky for you, instead of coming into a full pigeon, bring the knee forwards, leave the foot trailing, and then move the left leg out to the left to stretch. Then come back, same thing. Sweep up, bring it forwards, pick up the left leg, over to the left and slide away. So it's the same stretch, but a little bit easier to accomplish if pigeon is tricky for you. Good. We've got two more, and then we're going to pause and hold in that pigeon stretch. So this last one, bring it in, pause and hold. So you can stay here or you can take your weight down to the floor. Just make sure your hip bones are even, so we don't roll all the weight onto that right side. We want the stretch really effective, so keep the hip bones level. Make sure the weight is even. Take some nice big breaths. Good. And then to come back, walk the hands in. Bring your leg back if you've done that modified version. Push back up. Let's pedal the heels, bring the weight back to both feet. Press the heels down, and then we bring the left leg all the way up, all the way down, and into pigeon. Then all the way back. All the way down. Remember your modified version, all the way up, knee in front but the foot stays trailing, right leg goes over to the left this time. Come back and up, forward and across. Good. Couple more moving like this and then we'll pause and hold. Good. Let's do one more after this one and then we'll pause it. Good, so last one and then we're holding this one. Good, so come down. Remember, weight is even between left and right hip. Coming to the mat, either in your modified or your full version. Check the hip bones are level. And then some nice big breaths here. Lovely, walk it in. Tuck the toes, bring it back. This time both feet tuck under, and we're going to take the weight back onto our heel so we get a lovely deeper foot, calf and ankle stretch. If that's too much, come into a high kneel position. Okay, if it's not, just take your weight back a little bit so you deepen the stretch, making sure the ankles don't roll out. Big breath in, sweep up, interlace the fingers, flip the palms to the ceiling, stretch. Good, then release the hands, round behind you, interlace the fingers again, push down, and then if you can, push away. Good, release, come back, and then let's just do that opposite stretch for the feet, calves and ankles, sitting on them here. And you can stay in this position as long as you'd like to stretch, but we are done.